Alright everyone, welcome back to the tier list episodes. This is the final part, the tier 11-12 one. Now let's get right into it. We've got the K14 UW hull. This thing goes on 8 due to its high 13 acceleration, high speed, and good chemical and energy armor. Its front armor profile is also pretty good, and it's pretty low profile as well. EXM SFSTC hull. Now this thing is a 10-wheeler vehicle. It's very long, though its front armor is very angled, so it can really bounce some shots here. And it's rather quick, so I'm gonna put it on A as well, below the K14. EXM 2AG117. It's engine armor at the front, and it has a lot of space inside it, though doesn't really have anything special to it. So I'm just gonna put this on. It's actually rather slow, so I'm gonna put it on B. The 84U hull, very armored front armor. With ERA, the front armor is equal to the T14. I think it's slightly worse than the T14 actually, and it has double layer ERA at the front, so not even the L55 with its anti-ERA ammunition can penetrate it in one shot. With its high reverse speed and forward speed, along with its incredible armor, I'm gonna honestly put it right below the K14. T14 Armata. This thing used to be a beast. Now with its trash acceleration and its 1 reload multiplier, it's going on C for me. Sorry. Leopard 2 Type C. This thing is, in my opinion, it doesn't deserve to be a tier 12 because of its minuscule armor all around in tier 12. I just don't think it should be up there. It's gonna be on B below 2AG. Type 10 hull. This thing is right below the K14 UW because it's fast, both in forward and reverse. They have the same speed. It also has good acceleration and hydraulic pneumatic suspension. Now you can argue that it's better than the K14 UW, and in my opinion, I think it actually is. I'm gonna put it there because its agility is just much better in my experience with it. And that's what really matters here. Speed. Speed is life. Speed is life. Leopard 2A7 hull, very armored front, and it has a bit of composite on the front of the sides, and it has spore liners inside it too. It's not named spore liners, it's named aluminium, but it's still spore liners. I've tested it on a private server myself, and it does make guns spore less inside this hull, and it increases the survivability significantly. This thing goes right above the K14 UW in my opinion. Toyota Mark II. This thing is really good for brawling, though its weaknesses have been exploited by many people already, and many people already know how to kill this thing in like 1 or 2 shots. And it's very slow and massive as well, so it's gonna be right below the Armata, in my opinion. Because I've gotten some really good plays with the Armata, just utilizing its armor there. Just praying to God that people do not shoot the turret, and maybe if they don't, and if like the new spall system with the less spall for APF SDS screws them up, I get to live a lot longer. And I'm pretty sure if you just shoot the Toyota on the right under the gun, the entire turret crew will just die. Challenger 2 ATTU. This thing used to be the best tank. This thing used to be the best tier 12 vehicle. I mean, the best tier 10 vehicle, because yeah, that was a long time ago. However, times have changed. Now this thing had its acceleration buffed, so it's kind of equal to the 2A7 now. Its armor profile is just worse though, so it's just gonna be below the T84U in my opinion. T9EM hull, very strong front armor at 800 millimeters on the front ERA, and it's just the only problem I have with it is the reverse speed. The forward speed and agility is excellent. If you do not know how to use this thing like a professional, which means just don't overextend, it's really not the tank for you. But if you utilize it to its fullest extent, I'm gonna put it right below the T84U. Now we're moving on to the turrets. Well, I could actually skip first. Okay, let's finish the hulls, all of them first. We got the T84O, special tank for the Ukrainian Independence Day. This is a casemate T84. I do not really have much experience on it because I don't use it a lot, so I'm gonna put the Leopard 2SG hull, in my opinion, it's just better than the 2A7 hull. Because I've tested it myself, and the spall liners are slightly better, and it's just more armor in chemical energy against chemical energy on the sides, and both on the sides and the front. And yeah, my opinion is just better than the 2A7 because of that reason. It's more resistant to more types of shells. 2K22M1. This thing has proximity fuse missiles and quadruple 30mm machine guns, or autocannons should I say. This thing goes on B though. Wait, hold on. This is a Object 148 prototype. This thing is a less armored T14, but in turn gets more acceleration and better reload multiplier, so I'm gonna put it on B. It's just not A tier because it's lack of side armor and because it's just generally slower than all of these things already, even though it already has a buffed acceleration from the T14. It's gonna be above both of these guys because the 2AG is just very slow. CATTB or Cat B hull. Now this thing has more armor than the regular Abrams, though its upper plate is still lacking in armor. It has hydropneumatic suspension and fully blowout panels on the rear of the hull, right in front of the engine. It's a pretty good hull, and I'd rank it on A, just above the K14UW in my opinion. The fully blowout racks, blowout protected ammunition racks, is just too much of an appeal to ignore. Then that's all the hulls, so we're moving on to the turrets. We've got the Challenger 2 turret. This thing is an A because of its high armor, high speed, and yeah, it's just really good generally. Though there are better options than this one. We've got the EXM2AG117 next. This thing has a 3 clip, I think if it's with the 120, and it has a lot of secondary weapons. Though it doesn't have much armor, it does have spall liners, but in the form of internal RHA. So I'm gonna put it on A as well, even though it's quite slow actually. It lacks blowout racks too in the back, so I might consider giving it a B, but let's just see. Maybe I'll put it on B later on if there are better turrets. Leopard 2A4. This thing is a B due to it's tier 11, and the armor is quite lacking. Also has 16 ammunition at the back, as opposed to 18 on other Leopard turrets. So yeah. M1 Special. This is, in my opinion, better than the 2A4 because it has a higher ammunition capacity. And yeah. It also has a 12.7mm machine gun on top, but it just doesn't deserve an A in my opinion. Picker 7-1, no experience. T90A. This thing goes on B as well, above the M1 Special due to its smaller profile and more consistent armor. T72B3. This thing, in my opinion, is rather equal to the T90A because the T90A is really just like kind of a reskin of the T72B3. But because the T90A has a welded turret, naturally it should be more armored than the T72B3. So I'm gonna put the B3 right below it. Though it's a very close margin, they should be in the same exact position if I could put them together. Challenger 2 ATGU turret. This thing goes on A above the Challenger 2 because naturally it's just the Challenger 2 turret with more armor, better thermals, and it's very slightly faster. Type 10 turret. This thing, in my opinion, just with its extremely high reload multiplier, it just goes on S. Not gonna lie. We can really get some ridiculously low reload speeds with that turret, and its armor is pretty good as well. If you just the mantlet is a weakness, but as with most things here, the mantlet is the weakness. So yeah, I can't really complain about that. K14UW turret. It's a really chemical energy armor turret, but it has a big downside, which is the cope cage on the top really blocks out the commander binoculars. But that's pretty much it, and it has blowout racks and mediocre armor, in my opinion. You can actually go through its turret cheeks on certain locations, so I'm gonna put it on A above the EXM2AG because it's still usable. Leopard 2A7 turret. This thing also goes on A because, not S, because its armor on the turret inner side of the turret cheeks near the mantlet is really lacking. You can actually penetrate it with normal guns like the 120s or the 125s. So I'm gonna put it honestly right above the Challenger 2 ATTU because it just has Generation 3 green thermals, which is really good. And all of its ammunition racks are stored in a blowout compartment at the back, and it also has internal RHA and aluminium small liners. It actually works, like it's very survivable. I've tested it myself as well. Terminator 2 turret, this thing is has a very high elevation angle, but not much of a depression angle. Though it has 4 tandem charged ATGM launchers, so I'd honestly rank it on a B right above the T90A because of its quadruple ATGM launchers, and it's really useful in hold down. EXM SFSTC, this thing in my opinion is better than the Terminator 2 due to it having far stronger missiles, a lot more depression and elevation angle. It also has Generation 3 thermals, albeit it's red, so it's worse than the white and the green one in my opinion. It's still better than the Terminator 2. So I'm gonna put it right above the 2AG, right there, and above the K14UW in my opinion, because it's just so useful as a rat turret. Next up, we get the T84-120 turret. It has fully blowout racks, no ammunition carousel, so that's a plus. Its integral gun, the 120mm KBM2, it's pretty mid. Yeah, it's just a mid turret in my opinion, though. Yeah, it's just gonna be below the K14UW right there. T90M turret, this thing is an excellent turret with both blowout racks and an ammunition carousel, though the ammunition carousel could be seen as a minus. The armor is very strong, and its real multiplier is also excellent, though not as good as the Type 10, it still deserves an A. Its rotation speed is also really good. The only problem it has is that ammunition carousel and also the -6 depression angle. In my opinion, it just goes above the ATDU. Wait, below the ATDU, I'm sorry. Then we've got the Leopard 2 SG here. Oh, I seem to have forgotten something. Yeah, the Black Knight turret isn't here. Oh well. Okay, I'll just hold on. I'll just say what you guys what it'll be. 2SG turret, in my opinion, is better than the 2A7. Maybe not actually. It just has more consistent turret cheek armor, but it does have more weaknesses than the 2A7 frontally, and it lacks the 12.7mm machine gun on top. Though it is more armored in chemical energy and kinetic energy on the sides. It's really depends on which one do you prefer, but in my opinion 2A7 is just slightly better than this turret. 2K22M1, we've got this thing and it has proximity fused missiles and a quadruple 30mm autocannons. It also has a tracking and a search radar, so it's really good for long-range sniping if the enemy does not see you. It's just too niche to be on A tier in my opinion, so it's just gonna be on B. Contender A1. My friend likes to call this thing the Tenderloin A1 because it's so easily destroyed. Even though its crew is stored in a lower position, they still get hit by SPAL, as he said it. I do not have much experience on this, but at times I do. This thing has a really good real multiplier, it just lacks in armor and the crew still dies from shot from its turret cheek. And the ammunition rack is also right below the gun barrel, so if someone shoots the mantlet right below the gun barrel, you will explode instantly. In my opinion, it just goes to get an A because it's fast reload multiplier, it's just right below the EXM2AG. And we have the CATTB or the CATB turret here. And it just, with its integral 120mm XM291, is an excellent gun. It just has a slightly longer reload. This turret is pretty big, and it has a lot of ammunition too, as well. It's also pretty armored, except on the mantlet, of course, naturally. Many turrets are weak on the mantlet side. So I'm just gonna put it on, honestly, A, right above the T84 and the K14. It just doesn't rank any higher than that, because of its weakness in the mantlet. Actually, it has a lot of smoke launchers, so I'm gonna reconsider. It's gonna be above the Challenger 2. Below the T90M, because the T90M has smaller weak spots, with it only being on the mantlet. Yeah, that's it. Moving on to the guns here, we've got the, first of all, we've got the 105 CV, high pressure CV. Now, this thing goes on a B honestly, because it used to be really good, but now it's just an over-glorified GT7. Like seriously, I think the GT7 almost has the same pen as this with faster reload rate. 49.7mm double grenade launcher. Now this thing was really bad, and it was extremely good at the chemical energy shell buff. Though I do not know its current state because I hadn't played the game. Used the gun. Though I don't really know its current state since I hadn't used the gun after the other more recent chemical energy changes. I think there's another one. If it doesn't have another one, this thing goes easily on S. But if it did get nerfed again, I don't know. It's just gonna be no experience right now. Got the 120mm TKG. Very fast reload rate of 7.3 seconds if I remember correctly. Or maybe it's just flat 7 seconds. I think it's flat 7 seconds. It has 530mm of penetration with anti-ERA ammunition. It's just extremely good. Paired with the Type 10 turret, you get a very fast reload rate. XL1K. This thing is also an S due to its extremely high penetration, and its ATGM is relatively very fast. It also has a HESH shell for light vehicles. It just goes right below the TKG in my opinion due to its longer reload and its more niche purpose. You have the 2A46M here, the tier 11 one. This thing goes on a B right above the high pressure CD. Its main round is the 3BM42 Mango, and it has quite a long reload, so it just doesn't go on a. L44, this is better now than the 2A46. Slightly better. Not slightly actually, it's just better. And it has an integral gun shield which can be used to help your mantlet become stronger. Next up, we've got the 120mm EMI. Now, this thing, I would have put this on S if the TKG wasn't as good as it is right now, because this thing used to be the only alternative to the L55 if you want an anti-ERA, a PFSDS round in tier 12, but now not anymore. I'm putting this on A because it just doesn't hold up to the competition. As a gun by itself, it also has quite a long reload, and yeah, the penetration is really good, but it's on A simply because the TKG exists. And up next, we've got the 2A46M-1. This thing is quite a good gun. Honestly, I'm putting this on A. It has a very quick reload for 125. And very good penetration as well. It just lacks anti-ERA, so I cannot put this on S. It's just gonna be below the EMI right now. We got the Betwixt next. This thing is a B. This thing is an A as well. Honestly, I might consider putting it a B, but I do not know its recent HESH changes. It used to be really good, as my friend would say. So, with my lack of experience on it, I'm putting it on no experience. We've got the 30mm Terminator up next. This thing used to be an S tier gun, but now it's not anymore. It just doesn't hold up to its former glory. It's gonna be on a B tier right above the L44 because it has only 99mm of penetration right now, barely enough to penetrate any Russian MBT on the sides without its ERA. It overheats quite quickly as well, so yeah. It doesn't. Wait, it has a 70 clip system. I just remembered. Runs out of the ammo quite quickly, but if you use it correctly, if you just stay back, let your team be a distraction, flank, and then you pick them off from behind on the sides and quickly move away, it's really good. 2077 no experience, 76 auto no experience. We've got the U history up next. Now this thing is the anti-everything gun. One shot with this and it's almost a guaranteed kill. Sometimes they would survive somehow. But yeah, it's just not going to be on S because of its ridiculously long reload rate, sorry. This thing is not a B either because it's capable of one-shotting so many things, so it's gonna be on A. L55A1, this is another S tier gun. It almost has 600mm of penetration, but its long reload rate it doesn't make it better than the TKG. It's just better than the XL1K in my opinion. Now, you could argue that the XL1K is better than both of these because of its 1200mm tandem charge and over top attack ATGM, but in my opinion, Since it's an ATGM, you do have to guide it first, and it takes a bit of time. So if the enemy player manages to dodge it or get into cover before your missile hits, see the problem? Do you see the problem here? So yeah, I just do not want to put it higher than both of these guns. But if you do, that's okay. If you think this is better, that's okay. You could use that gun. You could say these three are all equals, but yeah, you could say that as well. L15. This thing is it's a B as well. It's right below the L44 in my opinion. It's weighs 7100mm. This thing is a B as well, just above the Terminator, because it's a pretty quick reload rate gun with a 1000mm pen tandem charge ATGM. It's almost as good as the XL1K, but the SPAL and the filler for the ATGM's damage is just not as big as the XL1K, naturally because it's a smaller caliber. 2A82 1M, this thing is an A right below the 2A46 and below the U history in my opinion. It's just below the U history because it has a longer reload than the 2A46. But actually no, U history just does not deserve a higher position in this spot because it's so niche. You pretty much only snipe with it, you don't do aggressive things, or else you'll just die. The 282 is slightly worse than the 46M1 in my opinion, dude. Even if it has higher SPAL, the reload time just doesn't, it's not worth it. Yeah, alright. Peacemaker up next. Now this thing used to have an APF SDS run, now it's only a heat shell. I have not used it, but people have been saying it's basically it's throwing a giant bomb at your enemy. So, and they said it's really good, and its reload time is still faster than the U history. So I'm gonna put it right above it. It could be better than these three guns, but I just don't know. If you wanna put it right above them, you could in your own head. Yeah, I just don't know. But I do know it's in A tier range. The RQ50. It's a tiny little railgun here with absolutely no SPAL whatsoever, but has a double clip system on all turrets. I just don't think it deserves an A tier, but a B. It's just right below all these three guns and above the CB. H2 Ares Jupiter, really good gun, 120mm, which means you can carry a lot of ammunition, and it has a lot of penetration as well. It's going right above the EMI in my opinion, due to its extremely high penetration, and the reload rate is still acceptable. Maybe below the EMI? Yeah, and below the 2A46, below the 282 honestly. It's just reload rate. I did say it's acceptable, but it's still slower than all of these guns, and the extra penetration won't really matter, honestly. So yeah, this is the final tier list, the tier 11, 12 one. Let me know if I missed anything. This is all of it. Alright. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Hold on, actually, you cannot see the full tier list, can't you? Yeah, there we go. That's the DRQ and the Challenger 2 right there. So yeah, that's the full tier list. Let me make it smaller, actually. Yeah, that's better. And I'll scroll down a bit. Yeah, alright, now you got a good look at it. Thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you on the next one. The next video will be releasing possibly tomorrow, so keep a lookout for that one. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.